Alright folks, welcome back to the channel. My name is Dan Slobodin from First Strike Athletics. Today I'm going to be doing a fight breakdown. This is actually one of my fights. I'm going to share with you 3 technical tips that will help you win your first fight, as well as 3 mistakes to avoid making in the preparation and lead up to your fights. Alright, so starting with the fight. See, I'm jumping up and down because I'm nervous. I'm trying to get all my nervous energy out. And I am taking the center of the ring. I throw a couple of jabs, and I grab him and start clinching right away. This is really important. Have a game plan. I mean, you should have a game plan for the whole fight, but especially the beginning of the fight. To be honest, if you're a beginner at fighting, most of the stuff you learn is gonna be going right out the window. But you need to know how to start. You don't wanna be so nervous, the bell rings and you just like freeze up. So what my coach did with me, and what I do with my fighters, is I spend some dedicated time, not every day, but most days, to make sure they know exactly what to do. In my case, it was take the center of the ring and initiate the clinch, because my fighter was a karate fighter, taekwondo background. We didn't want to get into a kicking game with him. We wanted to, make it a Muay Thai, close game, throw knees, something that maybe he wasn't as familiar with. So we have a dedicated technique or combo that they know they need to do at the beginning of the fight. And right before the fight starts, I tell them, what are you gonna do? And they say, take the center, throw combo 11, or whatever their thing is. So they know exactly what to do. And then after that, the nerves are kind of gone and you're able to kind of think a little bit more clearly, not a lot, but you need to be able to start strong and know exactly what to do at the beginning, so you eliminate those nerves and like just that big question mark over your head, right? So, and that's pretty much what I did for most of the fight. I clinched, threw some knees, did some dirty boxing, that type of stuff. So right here, you can see I kicked him in the shins on purpose. One of the things I was really nervous about doing in my first full contact fight was, going shin to shin. So I kind of wanted to just get that over with, I had him in the clinch, he started breaking the clinch, and it's good to hit. This is a very important thing. It's good to hit out of the clinch. As long as the referee's not trying to break you up and says, to break cleanly. If your opponent's getting out, don't just let them get out on their terms. Give them something to think about on the way out. It might be a punch, it might be, in this case, a kick, a little shove, but make sure that you can affect them in a negative way on the way out, something that you can take a little bit more control of. Okay, so going shin to shin too, I saw he didn't like that, and that immediately made me feel better. I'm like, okay, if we keep going shin to shin, I'm gonna win those exchanges. He's gonna be more hesitant to do it. So it kind of gave me a little bit of a confidence boost. So right here, you're gonna see something. I walk up, I throw a left kick. 2 seconds later, not even, he throws the exact same kick. Steps in with the right foot, throws a high kick to the head. You're gonna see this a lot in fights in general, but especially with beginners. It's almost like this, oh, you can do it, I can do it better kind of thing. So anything there's kind of dynamic, like a head kick, a spinning back fist, a Superman punch, something like that, if you try it, there's a really good chance your opponent's gonna try it back to you. I don't know what quite the psychological aspect of that is, why we copycat each other, but it's something you see a lot. So be aware that if you do a high dynamic technique and your opponent does it back, try another one later on and try and counter that, right? So in that case, if I'd seen that, if I'd been paying a little bit more attention, I may have tried another high kick, and then as he goes to do it back to me, maybe step out to the side and sweep his foot out or something like that from him. That's pretty higher fight IQ. You're probably not gonna remember those types of things as a beginner, but it's something that you can think about and work towards too down the road. Now right here, I make a mistake. As you can see, he throws a leg kick and I take it, and as he starts to back away along the ropes, he starts to circle right, and I follow him along the ropes. This is a big mistake. Don't let your opponents control the ring like that. Again, I have dedicated sessions or dedicated rounds in our training sessions where I make sure my fighters don't follow along and get stuck against the ropes. They go, they cut the person off. And you can see after the second kick, I do that. So here we go, I'll show it again here. He kicks my leg, I follow him, he kicks my leg again, I follow him, and then I stop and I cut to the left and cut off the ring. That's what I should have done to begin with. If my opponent had been a little bit more savvy, he could have cut a bit more of an angle and had me in the corner. That's not where you want to be, right? You want to put them in the corner. So anyhow, think about that. Spend some time when you're getting ready for fights, knowing exactly the type of terrain you're gonna be fighting in, cage, ring, mats, without any type of barrier. And just make sure that you're able to understand how to take the center of the ring and control the center. That's very important, and it's something even as a beginner you should be working on. Okay, so one more technique thing from this before we get into the lead up stuff. And this is later on in the fight. I'm kind of proud of myself for at least trying this. It wasn't great, but at least I tried it. So I go, so you can see right here, I throw a low kick, he checks it. Actually, he doesn't check, he just takes it. I throw another one, he does check it, and then I fake low and go high. This is a very common thing you learn in gyms, right? Fake, go low, go high. Or go high, go low, right? But the mistake I made with this, tactically it's a good idea, but technique-wise I didn't really pull it off because I rushed it. You know, you can't just go bang, bang, bang and expect them to fall for that. You gotta be a little bit more clever and camouflage that type of tactic a little bit better. Maybe throw a low kick, see how they react, throw a couple punches, throw another low kick, see how they react, move around a little bit, and then fake low and go high, right? You can't just rush it like that. But, you know, my first fight, I'm proud I was at least attempting to do something other than just brawl. And as far as actual techniques in the fight, that's pretty much it. I'm not gonna be able to share much more with you. Like I said, the quality wasn't great and my performance wasn't exactly like astounding or like that. I'm really impressed with some of the first time fights I watch on YouTube, how good people are, how well they understand, you know, certain tactics and strategies. So there's other breakdowns I've done that show those things better. Now, let's get into the lead ups to the fight. And this is probably the most important part. All right, so now that we've talked about the techniques, let's get into the lead up. This is the most important part. So mistake number one is trying to change things up with your clothes. I know it sounds silly, but a lot of people will get new shorts or some sort of like new mouth guard or something like that, and then they're uncomfortable. They're like, I can't move around with these right, and I can't breathe with this mouth guard right, it doesn't fit right. Keep everything exactly the same way as how you've been training. You know, you wear the same shorts. If you got a favorite pair of shorts, wear those. Wear the same mouth guard. Bring a backup mouth guard just in case. Bring backup shorts and back up everything if you can. But make sure you have the things that you're really familiar and comfortable with. That way it's just one less thing to worry about when you're actually fighting, right? You got enough stuff to worry about without having to worry about your mouth guard. Number two is the physical preparation. Fight day, I eat exactly the same thing I ate the day before, unless I was cutting a lot of weight. But the same thing I've been eating up until that, like the last 6 weeks. The same breakfast, the same lunch, I drink the same amount of water, the same amount of coffee. I don't change anything. One of the reasons why is because one of my teammates in this fight, he cut a bunch of weight. He hadn't really done that type of thing before. And then after the weigh-ins, he went crazy. He was eating ribs and hot wings and just going nuts. And of course, he hadn't eaten any of that stuff for like 5-6 weeks. So he had a bunch of indigestion. Then he took some sort of like antacid or something like that, and that reacted weird and he was like throwing up. So not only did he not get a good night's sleep because he was up all night with like heartburn and indigestion, but he didn't put back on the weight that he'd cut. He'd cut a lot of weight and you could really see it in his performance. By the second round, he was exhausted. So eat the same food. I know you want to kind of like celebrate for making weight. Save it till after the fight. After the fight, you can see I'm double fisting beers and eating burritos and having a good old time. But up until that fight, man, it was game day the whole day, all the way it was up for the 6 weeks before that. Another big mistake, and it's gonna sound kind of weird, but it's true, and I didn't really believe it when I first heard it either, was not breathing. My teammate, Chavez, he comes back from his first fight right before I went out, and he's like, man, I forgot to breathe. I forgot to breathe. I'm like, huh? Like, how could you forget to breathe? I went out, and for the whole first round, I held my breath. I was just clenching and holding and just, because you're nervous, and there's just this weird thing where you're just tense the whole time. And it's a hard thing to train for, but even when you're training, when you're having hard rounds and sparring on the bag, take a step back and practice breathing through the nose, just, and then go back into it. The more you do it in practice, the more likely you are to pull it off in the fights. Now, for me personally, it wasn't probably until my third fight where I actually felt comfortable and was breathing and actually thinking about what I wanted to do next. So it does come with experience, but it's something you want to practice, again, like right away when you're training, like remembering to take some time to breathe, to not be tense. And that's why good coaches will put you in more intense situations in the lead up to a fight, because they want you to feel that, but they also want you to be able to recover from it and to be able to breathe. So then sometimes coaches miss that. They'll put a ton of pressure on you, but they don't really guide you on how to deal with it. So, you know, some coaches, that's just their style. They just expect you to figure it out. And sometimes coaches can actually guide you through it. And it doesn't work the same for everyone, but I have certain tricks I've taught my fighters. I got it from Vinny Shorman, who's a hypnotist and mental coach for like Liam Harrison. I've been using those things recently with my fighters when we were able to fight, and they've been working quite well. So learn how to relax. Be ready, but relax. This is a very important part of fighting.
All right, thanks for watching. If you want to subscribe, click the icon to the left. If you want to watch another video, click on the right. And give me a like and share this if you like it and you want to share it.